The Selkirk Labs Project 007 paddles come in Selkirk's Invikta and Epic paddle designs. Both paddles combine the best in Selkirk technologies, leaning on the success of previous Selkirk paddles to bring all-court playability. Available in both the 10mm or 14mm polypropylene cores, the Invikta and Epic bring performance for power and control players. The thinner core offers ample pop to help you power past your opposition, while the thicker 14mm option provides a sense of added dwell time for control and feel. A new technology which is key to these paddles' distinctive performance is a base layer of titanium mesh that increases the size of the sweet spot for a consistent response. Selkirk's aerodynamic throat technology gives both paddle designs that distinctive Selkirk look while providing an aerodynamic benefit for fast play. To get your shots dipping to your desired target, these paddles feature Selkirk's InfiniGrit surface technology for truly impressive levels of spin. Jason and I both got to test these Project 007 Labs paddles from Selkirk. Now, Jay, we've got the Epic shape and the Invikta shape here. One, did you have a favorite out of the two? And two, did you feel like a secret agent on court with these paddles?
Always feel like a secret agent with these paddles. But yes, I did have a favorite. I like the Invikta shape. It's a little bit more elongated, how I like it, but I would prefer it in the 14mm thickness. I feel like it provides me a little bit more plusher feel. My previous experiences with them, I felt like Selkirk paddles were a bit more control-oriented, on the more lower powered end, and I was pleasantly surprised that I was getting some nice pop with these paddles. I don't know if it's due to that new titanium mesh layer, but I was definitely getting some nice pop on my serves and on my baseline shots.
Yeah, I have to agree. I tested these paddles and I preferred the Epic shape. I like that contact to be closer to my hand than I would get from something like an Invikta. But I tested it side by side with the Jack Sock paddle, and that one I found a deader, more controlled response, very consistent response, but this paddle, in contrast, offered quite a bit of pop. It was really jumping off the face. I was getting a lot of pace on any kind of like drive shots I had from the baseline. My serve I felt was really popping well with this. I'm not known as having a big, powerful serve, but I definitely felt like I was getting some more juice on my serve out of this paddle than I have with many others. And yet I thought I got a lot of spin, and that helped me get a lot of control. And I know you were serving with a ton of really nasty spin with that Invikta. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was gonna mention. I love the spin I was getting off these paddles. I love this new InfiniGrit texture they put on these paddles. Yeah, and like you mentioned on my serve, I felt like I was getting more free points on my serves. I even hit an ace with it as well. And the other thing I really like about these paddles that I thought was a great positive was just how maneuverable they were. I felt they were very quick, especially up at the kitchen line where those kind of firefights were happening. So yeah, I really like that, the maneuverability and the spin aspect.
Yeah, when I was up at the kitchen as well with these, I like the consistent response. As long as I didn't hit the ball down by the hole here, kind of the yoke of the paddle, as long as I was up on the paddle face, I was getting a really nice consistent response that helped me find the depth I wanted with my dinks. And it is a powerful paddle, but because it was so consistent, I found like I could control, once I learned the power level, it was consistent and I could control the depth of my dinks and really keep the ball down and try and stay out of those firefights and let my opponent pop it up and then use the paddle's power to take advantage of that. Anything else you really enjoyed out of these?
Yeah, I would say the control is also very good, like I would expect from a Selkirk paddle. And yeah, the spin, very good, and the maneuverability. Downsides for me, I think it's just the lack of an edge guard. I am typically a little more tough on my paddles, and without the edge guard, I feel like I'm a little bit more hesitant to go for those kind of low shots. Did you have any negatives?
Yeah, I like to touch paddles with my partner when I'm playing doubles between points, and I felt terrified to do that with this paddle because it's an expensive paddle. Yeah. I didn't want to damage it in any way. And like you know, I'm a player that's going to go for that low shot. I'm still going to take a good swing at it. And without a guard, that is a bit of a concern. But it's a beautiful playing paddle, ton of spin, ton of power. And once you get used to that power level, it's very consistent. So I think that brings control to these as well.
Nice, yeah. And I preferred the 14mm thickness. Did you have a preference for thickness?
Yeah, 14 as well for me. The 10 is just a little bit too thin feeling for me. It just doesn't, I don't feel like I get the ball sitting on the paddle face as long. And I really like the thicker 14, just better suited for my game.
That wraps it up for our review of the new Selkirk Labs 007 paddle. For more information on this paddle or anything else related, make sure you go to pickleballwarehouse.com, or if you're down under, make sure you go to totalpickleball.com.au.